Hey, folks, this is Len Denton, the Grappler, the original Grappler. That's right. And I'm live in color today with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
Welcome once again to Live and in Color with Wolfie D and my man Jimmy across the street. Jimmy, how you doing today?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. I woke up this morning feeling a little better than I have been the previous few days. I'm going to tell you and the listeners a funny, man, I don't ever remember my dreams, but I had this wacky ass dream last night that I just feel like it would be funny to share. It was so crazy. So in the dream, I'm telling myself, because the Planet Fitness is 8-minute walk from my house, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll walk up there. Well, in this dream, I was like, hey, there's another one that just opened up. And I don't remember if it had a town name to it, but it's not. There's not a town where I end up in this dream. So anyway, I take off walking up the hill, which is not towards the Planet Fitness that I go to, but towards this, imaginary new one that's opened, right? Yeah. I walk up my hill and down the same. Then again, my hill's correct, but then once I get up to the top of the hill, this doesn't exist. This little pathway, and I go to this little pathway, and then it opens up into this new little town that's there, right? And so on the walk, I get over to the Planet Fitness, and the next thing I know, I'm in there, right? Well, it don't look like no Planet Fitness I ever been in. It kind of looks like a 70s or 80s gym, man. It's got older equipment, and it's actually kind of cool looking. It's got a statue of Barry Bonds in it for whatever reason. With all these plaques and awards or something around him, right? It's really weird. And Michelle's there, and then but it's my Michelle. People, no, I'm just kidding. No, it's mine. And there's this owl, dragon, lizard looking thing that's outside, okay, outside of the gym in this little courtyard type area. Yeah, and it's fucking scary looking, man. It's like, oh God, what is that? I don't know what that is. And Michelle's out there trying to get close to it and take pictures, and it's coming towards her and stuff. And so, jeez, I finally get her to come in the door, shut the door, right? Yeah. Then there's no more Michelle right there, right? There's no more Michelle after this point, and I'm walking back home. So there's all this different stuff that takes place, like trying to get on machines. And I remember little things of actually working out. So I'm walking home, and it's like an apartment or something. And this old lady comes out, and we're sitting there looking up at the sky, and there's a boat or something, but it's a reflection. And so I got to say this. I started watching, before I went to bed, Twisters, the new Twister movie. Okay. About the tornadoes. Yeah. Anyway, tornado starts coming, right? Yeah. And so I take refuge somewhere while this tornado goes by. There's lightning. There's all this. I'm running for my life. Then it goes away, and so this old lady comes out, and she hands me a phone, and it's Peter Miller, the Mongolian Mauler. Oh, what? Yes. And it's not like I didn't hang out with Peter back in the day and stuff. He's passed on or whatever. Right. And so I'm like, yeah. And he says, hey, buddy, I'm going to take care of you, man. I'm going to take care of you. And that old lady comes back out with a donut for me. And that's just what he's talking about. He's going to take care of me. He has this old lady bring me a donut. You're okay. I swear, man. I swear. So then I don't really remember eating the donut, but all of a sudden I'm in a vehicle with two people whom I don't know that are taking me back to my house after this tornado has come through and done all this damage, right? So we're seeing all this damage. We're back to what is real in my neighborhood, but we're coming down my hill and we can't get there because like these homes have been on the left-hand side of the street. Mine's on the right, but all these homes are gone. They're just off their foundations and stuff. And there's some kind of concrete pillars that I'm having to climb over to get to my house. And I'm thinking, oh no. You know, Michelle's in there when I just saw her at the gym. But anyway, I'm thinking she's in there. And so I'm trying to get to my house, and my house was not damaged. I go inside to what's actually not it was from the outside, but once I got inside, it's not what my house looks like. And I thought it was Michelle, but it's not Michelle. It's not Michelle. It's a very large woman in a nightgown and blonde hair. I don't know who she was and why she was in my house.
Yeah.
So, then guess who else is in my house?
Donald Trump.
Peter Miller.
Oh yeah. Again, he came back.
I know. He's got his black eyes in and everything, man.
Oh, man.
There's a table, and there was I guess the two people that I was in the car with, I have no idea who they were. But then we're all eating, and that's all I remember. And I'm just like, I don't ever remember my dreams, especially that vividly of all this kind of stuff. But it was really weird, and I just thought I could share that with you listeners for some comic relief here. I don't know. Man,
I haven't remembered a dream, especially that thorough in a long time, man.
Yeah.
So wow.
I'm very interested in dreams, like when it comes to what do they mean and all that kind of stuff. I really like to look at that kind of thing. That one so far, there's so much to it, I don't know how I'd look that up. I mean, tornadoes,
right,
you know, all this
hold on, did it include the Mongolian Mauler by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well then that means this.
It has Peter Miller.
Peter R. Miller.
Peter
R. Miller. Yeah. What an interesting guy. Tell the people about him real quick, man.
Well, I wrestled him when I was real young. And he, again, one of those guys that I got to be able to get in the ring with where I was like, this is a real wrestler I'm in here with right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right. He took care of me and had a really good match with him. I'm pretty sure I worked him after that, but that's one that I really remember. 17 years old. It was in Alexandria, Tennessee. It was an outside show. Chris Champion was on that show, I remember. And this was one of the first times, like, okay, so I'm 17. I had a girlfriend at the time. She was 24, okay?
Okay.
And he was in college and stuff. She had actually came to me to that show. It was the first time she'd ever come to see me wrestle, and I think we had just started dating. So I was all head over heels over this chick.
Yeah.
And so we were dressing in a trailer. Well, I come back, I don't know if it was from the ring or guess what, but I just remember coming in the trailer, and this is not a dream, folks. This is real. So there's this, the trailer actually had like a bedroom in it. And yeah. And so Chris was back there, and I walk in there, and there's this chick, I mean, really good looking chick, laying on the bed, fully clothed. Chris was fully clothed. But Chris is like, hey, this girl came here to see you. She wants to meet you. And it was kind of like, here you go, buddy. And I was, you know, young and in love and everything. And I didn't do anything. I left the girl disappointed.
You didn't pay the rent, Wolfie.
I didn't pay the rent.
Oh, man.
My first official rat, I turned her down.
What kind of wrestler are you?
Oh man, I had not yet earned my stripes.
Can you hold on? Can you imagine how many of the old timers would be rolling over in their grave that maybe didn't get those same opportunities? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You mean this son of a gun was offered one on a silver platter and turned it down?
Yeah, like absolutely silver platter. The bed was there. She was on it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that love is love, or lust or whatever is love.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good story, man. You know,
I mean, I still got some that night, but not from her.
Not from her, right? It was just a different vessel. Yeah. But, oh man, I don't even know how to segue into this one. But you know who is awesome, and I bet he's an awesome lay, is Captain Nick from Captain's Corner.
Yeah, he is. I don't know from experience, but I've heard.
Yeah, not that, but we're betting on it, Captain. But anyway, no, we've been working with Captain's Corner for how long now, Wolfie, man? For years now.
Yeah, a couple of it seems like, yeah. Ever since I met there up north, man.
Yeah, you were like, hey, man, call this dude. We got to do some stuff with him, man. And so getting in touch with him, and then he has been so cool to work with us. And, you know, whenever he has a cool event coming up, we're one of the podcasts that he contacts to help promote it. And so that's what we're here for, and we're glad to. And today, man, we got the jewel right now of the lot, you know. I mean, a great bunch of guys up there in Portland. But, man, tell them about it.
We got Len Denton, the grappler, the OG grappler. This is I've never met Lenny, so this ought to be fun. I know, you know, obviously we know Tony, Dirty White, and they were partners, so I've heard some stuff. But yeah, we've been trying to get Lenny for a while, and that didn't work out. But now we have him, and no thanks to Tony. He'd kill me if he knew I said that. But, yeah, man, this ought to be fun, man.
Yeah, this will be fun, man. I can't wait. Let's get him on. All right, we'll be right back after these messages with the grappler, Len Denton.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength, and estrogen-free. Plus, there's no prescription needed. Finally, the days of needing a prescription for birth control are over. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Take control of your health and reproductive journey with Opill. Birth control in your control. Use code BIRTHCONTROL for 25% off your first month of Opill at Opill.com.
Hey folks, to get your official Live It in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, guys, we're back. Another special edition of Live and in Color Wolfie D Show. My man Jimmy across the street is with me, and also with me, and I am pleased, very honored to have this person on here. One of the first, Jimmy, you know me, I've told you, I always liked masked wrestlers when I was a kid, man. And one masked team that I never really got to see a lot of. I only saw pictures of them in the magazines that I would buy because obviously, you know, cable hadn't been a thing. And, you know, this particular person wrestled up in the Portland area most of the time, and I just didn't get to see him live a lot. But I always saw pictures, and I thought, man, the grapplers are cool looking. I love those masks, you know. And so anyway, folks, today on the show, pleased to have Mr. Len Denton with us, the original grappler, also a dirty white boy. What's going on, sir?
How you doing, guys? I'm glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. We've been trying to get you on for a minute anyway.
Yeah.
I tried going through Tony, but that didn't work out too well. I think
all we had to do was talk to Nick.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I think you had a little health scare. What was that? Maybe in the past year or something was going on with you?
Yeah, buddy, I got pretty serious. I didn't realize that I was kind of slacking, not working out, just kind of taking it easy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I've already paid my dues, man. I've been at this thing so long, and all of a sudden the weight kept going up, and I got older and kept getting shorter and shorter. And it caught up with me, and man, I had like congestive heart failure. Went in for 8 days, almost bit the bullet, man.
Wow.
And brother, that was something else that kind of woke me up. And I honestly, guys, I swear to you, I feel like, you know, a lot of people say they like to hit the lottery, but I feel like the good Lord let me hit the lottery, because I didn't realize, you know, like 60-something years old, you know, we used to wrestle all over the world, and I'd go to one place and they want me heavier, and the next place they want me lighter. And so I was good at cutting weight or getting bigger and different things. But then, you know, when you get my age, metabolism goes down to a crawl. I said, I don't know if I can still cut weight like this, you know, but good Lord was with me, and it worked out, and I dropped about close to 90 pounds. And heck, I'm back in fighting weight now, brother. So I got off the blood pressure medicine, and I got things clicking my way so far right now.
That's awesome, man. And man, that just that hits home with me. And Jimmy will tell you, I just found out, and this was at the end of July. Same thing with me. I had been sitting around. I had a couple surgeries, and I put on a bunch of weight. I was up to almost 270, and I'm 6'1", and 270 is not a good look for me. And
I'm 5'8". After the surgeries, I'm 5'8", and I was 278.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And they told me the same thing. I found out I had diabetes and I had heart failure. My heart was pumping at 40%. But since that time, I've dropped a little over 30 pounds at the moment. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah, man.
God bless
so that
you, brother. And it's a hard battle. It's a hard battle, when you get a little bit older. It's like really tough.
Yeah.
But, hey, I respect anybody for losing 30 pounds is a hell of a job.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I just did it really with just changed my diet and got back in the gym. That's really all it took.
You know what really helped me a lot was watching. What really helped me a lot, and I put it on, is when I cut out my sodium. The sodium really helped a ton too.
Yeah, sodium, sugar.
Tough.
I pretty ruled that out completely, and I've got a serious sweet tooth, but.
Me too, brother. Me too.
Ruled that out. But anyway, man, I'm glad we are.
I need a case of donuts and a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Well, all right. So enough about our health kicks, and I hope that encourages you. So here we go with talking about wrestling. Let's talk about some wrestling, man. Here's what I want to know. So, I mean, you've been in the business a long time, man, and I always like to know this part of it. What was your, like, as a younger man, when did you get introduced to professional wrestling? Like, when did you see it? When did you fall in love with it? Who were the people that made you go, I want to do that?
Well, I tell you, here's what happened to me. It was like it's a little different than a lot of guys did. My dream was to be a pro baseball player,
Right.
and I had offers to go to college out of high school. But see, I come from a family, nobody ever went to college. My dad, he had like a 7th grade education. They knew nothing about college or anything like that. So they didn't really make a big deal of that. I got offers to go to college, and then I even got scouted some by the pros for tryouts. But my dad was doing a thing. He did construction work, right? Mm-hmm. And so here in Houston, Texas, where I'm from, was Paul Bosch, Houston Wrestling, everybody watched it, just like they do in Portland. Portland Wrestling is the same as here. It's just a local, everybody was from Houston watched Paul Bosch on TV. Mm-hmm. And so, as from a kid, I was growing up with it, but my dad was into it, my uncles and stuff, but I really was. I was more into playing. I played football in high school and baseball, right? And so he went, a wrestler that had a big name here from Houston was named Tiger Conway. Mm-hmm. And his son was Tiger Conway Jr. You're probably familiar with him, but Tiger Conway Sr. was working, he was kind of semi-retired. Every once in a while he'd do a shot in Houston, but he had a fence company. He had a big fence company, and he needed some carports built to park his trucks under. And so somehow my dad and his crew got hooked up in doing that. And he met Tiger, and oh my God, he loved wrestling. He said, "Hey, you got to come over." So I had to go help him on the weekends. Daddy made me go work, do construction with him when I get out of school. So I met him and stuff. And then there was a guy, family friend, a big old fellow named George Rector. He wanted to be a wrestler, and then Tiger and them said, "Yeah, if you help us out and give us a break on this, we'll see what George, if he can make it." Well, the first thing they did was they stretched George and put him to sleep, so he quit. George no longer wanted to be a wrestler. And so Tiger said, well, your son, because he'd see me, so your son's in shape. He looks like an athlete. Maybe he ought to be the guy trained to be a wrestler. But I really wasn't that interested in it. But then I got to thinking about it, and so instead of going to Tiger, okay, this is kind of a long story, but instead of going to Tiger, they had the Lucha Libre going on in town in Houston. There's a lot of Mexican population here, right? And so I seen that, and me and my little brother went over there and watched one night, and I talked to them guys, and they said, yeah, come to it and work out. So I went over and I trained with them. I trained about 2 weeks. They said, okay, you got a match next Friday. I went, what? I got ready to wrestle. I only trained 2 weeks. And so it scared me to death, right? So I come back, and I told my dad, well, and he said, well, he called Tiger, and Tiger got mad because back in them days, that was opposition. That was outlaw.
Yeah.
He's been doing what? He said, I tell you what. He said, you and your son meet me at the Coliseum Sunday. You know, there was nobody there. He said, I got a key. I can get in. He said, and I'll work out with your son, see if he's got what it takes if they say he's ready. So we went. My dad's the only guy sitting at ringside, and Tiger, the old man, did everything he could to stretch me, but I was in too good a shape at the time, and he couldn't stretch me. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I held my own, right?
Yeah.
So then he got mad. He goes, he's riding with us, so we're taking him home. He told my dad, you know what? He ain't never going to be a wrestler. And he said, I ain't got time to mess with him. I don't want to train him. I'll never make it anyway. And he got out of the car and left it like that. And so, man, that built something inside me that pissed me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I kind of just went to hell with it. I told my dad, I said, hell with wrestling. I don't want to be no wrestling. People are a bunch of goofballs anyway. That's what I'm right. Which is true. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
and so he goes. So then about a week later, my dad seen an ad in the TV. Back then, we got TV guides, you know. It was a TV guide. And he said, look, you guys got a wrestling school across town. I went, if you want to go try it. And I went over there, me and him, and we had a meeting with this guy, Joe Piscatolo is his name. He wrestled with Joe Pizza. You probably never heard of him. He was just a job guy. Anyway, he had a wrestling school, okay? And he had a guy, he had like 10 students, and we're sitting in his little office, you know, it's in a warehouse building, the ring's in the back. And he has all these pictures of all these famous wrestlers, and he's giving me a speech. And I'm talking, this is back in 76. And he said, well, he looked at me and he told my dad, he said, look, he's in good shape and all that. He said, but he's only like, I was 5'10". And he says, I can make him bigger and thicker, but I can't make him taller. He said, this is a big man's business. He said, he'll never make a dime in this business. And when he said that, I mean, this is the second time somebody told me I can't. That just pissed me off. And so it was $3,000. It was $3,000. I had that much saved up from working in the summers. And I said, my dad said, what do you think? I said, yeah, I want to do it. He goes, are you sure? The man just told you. He said, no. I said, no, I want to try it. So I gave him my money and went out there. And I said, if he kills me, I'm going to show these assholes that I can do this. And I got into it. I did it. You know, have you heard of wrestler Gary Young?
Yeah.
Okay, me and Gary Young, we trained. We were students, one of the first students of this guy. We were in there. We trained together. All of us trained together. And me and Gary Young, actually, the only two that really ever made it out of the school. There was about 10 or 12 guys. But, you know, one thing I got to do, once I got into wrestling, then it was like I was meant to do it. I'm just saying, you ever done something? It felt like deja vu. Like in baseball, I want to play baseball, but I had to work my butt off, my ass off to make it, to be good at it. But in wrestling, I could screw up and accidentally have a good match. I don't know what it was. It just came natural to me. And I said, man, this is what I should have been doing. I didn't realize it. And then, but the one phone call I got to make really made me feel good after I'm going through all that, like a few years later, after I finally got a break, actually 4 years later on top. I wrestled in the Superdome against Andre and Dusty and all that. And me and Super Story won the tag belts, right? I called Joe, the guy that trained me, and I said, hey, Joe, you're right about one thing. I'll never make a dime in this business. I just wrestled in the main event in the Superdome. But I'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars, asshole. Bye. So anyway, I got mine back on him, boy. But, you know, that's how it happened. That's how I got into it. You know?
That's awesome.
That's a good story, man. In that, how old were you when you broke in?
I was 17 when I broke in, started professionally in Amarillo for the Punks. Yeah.
I was 16.
Was you really? No kidding.
Yeah.
Joe was a friend of Nick Kozak, the referee for Paul Bosch, you know, in Houston. Mm-hmm. Well, Jared Kozak was his brother, which ran towns for the Punks out in Amarillo. And that's how we ended up going there. He got us hooked up, and that was our first booking. I got fired the first day I was in the territory.
The other part of that story that I really like, though, is the fact that they trained you for 2 weeks with the luchadors, and like, so what was that at that time period? Were they still? I mean, obviously the style's different, but training with them, was it like, shoot wrestling, or were they just showing you how to do lucha shit? Or, I mean, what was that about?
Lucha, but I'm telling you, I mean, I can't believe I used to do this, but when I was 17, I guess maybe, but they were training, they shoot you in, for a backdrop. At that time, I could take a backdrop and handspring and land on my feet.
Yeah.
There ain't no way I can do that now. I really believe after I thought about it years later, well, how the hell was I doing that? So they said, man, this guy's good. He's ready to go. In 2 weeks, he had me ready for a match. I was scared to death.
Okay, so you get your start, and then when do you meet Tony? I want to talk about Tony.
Well, I went, like I said, I got that. I went for about, back in the day, and when I was in it, then it was like, they said, give yourself 4 years. If you're not working on top in 4 years, you need to find a new occupation, because you ain't going to make it unless you just want to be a job boy, along the way. And so I was about 3.5 in, right? I said, well, I don't look like this is going to work. And that's when I was in Norfolk, Virginia, and I got the call. Actually, Gene Lewis was on the phone with Buck Robley, and they were looking for a masked guy in Louisiana. And then I got the break to go there as the grappler. And then I got that run done, and then I left and went somewhere. I forget where I went from there. I came back. Did you
come up with the name, the Grappler, or did somebody else?
No, that's a funny story too. You guys, I'm sure you've heard of a fellow. He's gone, God bless him, named Don Cornoodle, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, when I was in Mid-Atlantic territory, me and Don, we'd ride together a lot. Me and Don got along good. His brother Wally's a good friend of mine, and so we were riding. This is how it happened. We were riding along, and we're just talking, coming back from a show. And now, when I was in Atlanta, before I went there, just doing jobs, Oldie would have me on TV as Len Denton, and I'd get beat. And then he also, the same tape, had me come back with a blue mask and call me the Challenger. And I'd get, another job, right? So he'd get more work out of me for the same money. So he had me putting the hood on a lot, And so I guess Don had seen that. So we were talking about it. So 1 year in Atlanta, you wore the mask. I said, yeah, I did that to do jobs. Oldie wanted me to work more once on each tape and all that. He goes, I said, well, it got me a lot of experience. It worked the hell out of me. He goes, one day Don goes, one day I would like to wear a mask, sometime try it out. And I said, well, if you did, Don, what would you call yourself? He said, I'd call myself the Grappler. Don was a Greco-Roman, like he really knew how to shoot and wrestle and all, right? Yeah. And he goes, I would call myself the Grappler. Why? He said, well, it means wrestler in something or whatever, Greek or whatever or something. And I said, that's the hell of a name, the Grappler. Okay. And that was it. That was the conversation. So 2 or 3 days later, like I said, I was walking down the hotel down the hall, coming back from the gym, and the doors open, and Gene Lewis is on the phone. He goes, hey, Lenny, this guy wants to talk to you. It's Buck Robley, which I'd never met him. He's a booker for Watts in Louisiana. So I got on the phone. He said, hey, I'm looking for a masked heel, somebody that can carry a load and wrestle, not just, he said, we got all the furniture movers. We got Brody in here. We got Abdullah. We got the Freebirds. We need a guy that can wrestle. And I said, yeah. He said, I heard you can do the job. I said, yeah, that's what I do best. He said, you wear a mask? And I said, yeah, I wear a mask. I was trying to get the job, right? He goes, what do you call yourself? What do you call yourself? And I went, first name come to my head was what Don had said. I call myself the Grappler. and that's how it happened. I stole it from Don.
That's awesome.
And Don, after that, Don would see me, especially when I made it on top. He'd go, you asshole, you owe me residuals for that name. You've been using my name all over the country. And I said, I'll pay you, brother. I'll catch up with you one day. Don't worry, Don.
Yeah.
That's a good story,
that's how
too.
I got started, that name, the Grappler, yeah.
And then, okay, so my original question, back to that one. So where do you run into Tony?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and so then I left. I got the run in Mid-South. Then I forget where I went from there. It might have been, I'm not sure. When I came back to work for Watts again, I was single as a grappler again. And that he brought in like Tony and Tim Horner come in together from Tennessee. And they were good little hands, you know. I could tell they could work. Tony could always work. I seen you watch his work. But then Watts came to me and said, "Hey, look, I'm looking for a good tag team. What do you think about this kid, Anthony?" I said, I watched him. I said, "Hey, this got everything it takes." I mean, he's never worked on top, but I said, he said, "Will you take him under your wing?" I said, yeah, no problem. Because I rode with him a couple times, and me and Tony got along good. Yeah. And Tony tells the story. He says, when I first, I gave Tony, he didn't have any grappler tights, and we had to be grapplers on the next TV. I loaned him a pair of tights. I loaned him a mask, and he had some black boots. I said, "Okay, we're set for TV next Saturday." And the first show we went on after that, when he got in the car, I said, "Hey, first of all, before we even start being partners, do you drink beer?" He said, "Yes." "Do you like country music?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, good. You're in, buddy. Just go." He tells that story everywhere.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And he said, "All I heard was George Jones all the way there and back." I said, "I know Texas, brother."
I imagine y'all had some good trips together.
Oh my God, some crazy trips and some fun. Yeah, we had some good times, me and O'Tony. We did all kinds of stuff.
Any that you want to share that would make us crack up?
Well, I'll tell you one Tony probably don't want me to tell, but I'm going to tell it.
That's even better. That's even better.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, it's a veteran in me, brother. Okay, so me and Tony are the grapplers, right? So I had the loaded boot, right? The big old heel on the boot, right? But we had the same mass and everything. And back in the day, you know, we split rooms every night. We split a room, save money, right? Yeah. We're on the road. So in Memphis, we're in Memphis territory. This is where we really did a lot. In Memphis, we had a certain hotel, and all the Rain of Rat, all the girls, all the fans, they knew where we stayed, right? And so we go in, as soon as we get into our room, we take our stuff out, wash our tights. The tights better be clean for tomorrow. We wash them.
That wouldn't be the Admiral Bimbo, would it?
No, we stayed up. I think it was Admiral Bimbo, actually. I believe so. Anyway, we wash our stuff and hang it all out, right? We put the beer on ice, and then Tony goes, "Lenny, put cheese in the window." And I take my loaded boot and put it in other side of the curtain on the window so they could see it. And it wouldn't be for 5 minutes. They'd see that boot. They knew the grapplers were there. You get knock on the door. "Come on in, lady."
That's awesome.
Tony said, "Put the cheese in the window, baby."
Cheese in the window.
I'm stealing that.
And you got it, yeah. Put the cheese out there. We got you some rats in here. That loaded boot, boy, big old block of cheese sitting in the window. Everybody knew we were there.
That's another gimmick that I always like, but it's so funny, like looking back on it, you know. Yeah. You know, you tap in it. What were people actually thinking? You know, that there's something sliding, there's some mechanism in there.
They come up with so many explanations. And one of the best ones I ever heard, though, this guy comes up to me, goes, "Grappler." He's looking at me, he's all mad. So I'm standing there watching him act. "I know what you got in that boot, you asshole." I said, "Yeah, do you really?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "I know how that works. I figured it out." I said, "How does it work?" He goes, "Well, when you tap your toe, you got mercury in there and it gets hot and it all goes to one end. Like a thermometer." I said, "What?" I said, "This guy's been doing some damn thinking, son."
Yeah. He's tested out theories and
put that on Mythbusters. Oh, God. All right, Jimmy, I'm rolling across the ring and I'm hot tagging you, buddy.
Okay. Well, when we come in with the hot tag, especially with a grappler, we've got to do this quickly here, right? So come on. So let me start off by saying that the first interview I ever heard was you and your old friend Roddy Piper talking, and I think it was on his podcast. And man, I was just like, this Len Denton guy, I've only known him as this mysterious grappler, right? You have so much personality. Like, why? And let me just ask this: why do you think promoters, and I think today promoters, and we could get into a whole other conversation about current wrestling and stuff, but I feel like today promoters would take you in a different light. But you have you're charismatic. But to put you under a masked gimmick, you know, it's funny. It's like they almost wanted to silence that a little bit. But let me ask you.
The one thing that I've say a lot of times the one reason they did that is because I could wrestle good, I could carry matches, I could talk good on TV and all that, but there were so many good-looking guys with the bodies and all that. I had just and handsome guys. I had just a plain. I wasn't ugly enough to scare nobody. Good looking enough to draw no women in.
Man.
And so, but when they put that mask on me, it gave me a character. And
Sure.
then that's when I built my image and got on top. They had a character to work with.
That makes sense.
So that kind of made me. You go, because a lot of guys I look like an average shoe salesman or door-to-door salesman. Just a plain old guy.
Yeah.
So when I put the mask on, it changed everything.
Yeah. It blew my mind. I was like, man, he's so daggone funny, dude. And so Piper, we always are randomly talking about like our Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling and stuff. And consistently on mine, Roddy Piper is always going to be on there, man. Talk about
Right.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah. Roddy Piper, I tell you one about Roddy was funny. We learned a lesson here. He learned one too. At the end there, he started doing stand-up, telling stories, road stories, like Jake does and Mick Foley does and all that. Well, Roddy was doing it, right? He started doing it. And the guy, a good friend of mine, and Roddy's as well, in Portland, he owned Harvey's Comedy Club, right? And so we call him Coach. Barry Colin's his name. We call him Coach because he taught me and Roddy how to do stand-up stuff. But at first, I wasn't doing anything. I was just we owned an automotive business together, and we're partners. We did shit all the time together. So he said, Lenny, I want you to come over here, and you always want me to come over there and watch him and critique what he's doing, try to help or whatever. So I was going there. Coach Barry, the guy, he didn't even realize I was a wrestler. He thought I was just a friend of Roddy's. And so and I didn't say anything. I mean, what does he care if I wrestle or not? But we're trying to do stand-up comedian stuff, right? So to help Roddy get going. So Roddy they got the show booked around. He was doing it, but what they were doing, they were opening up with a couple of comedians and then bring Roddy up last, right? Well, he couldn't follow the act because the comedians, that's what they do for a living. They make you laugh.
Yeah.
And when Roddy would come up, it'd be like anticlimactic. He'd say something, people just stare. They wouldn't even laugh. So we got to have somebody. We can't do that. We got to have somebody open up. So during the process of this, while they're trying to figure out what to do to get Roddy where the people really pop when he come in, I gave Coach one of my books that we wrote, right? And so he read it. He calls me up. He said, man, I didn't realize. I said, brother, I did as much wrestling as many places as Piper has. He goes, you know what? You're the guy that needs to open up and bring him up. And so they started teaching me how to do it, and then we started doing that, and that worked. And so they said, well, you know what? Piper told Coach, hey, get Lenny ready, because he said, and so I would go up every Friday and Saturday night at Harvey's Comedy Club and do about 15 minutes, before the comedians come out and hone it. And he was teaching me different things that could happen and how to set yourself up, how to engage your crowd, the things you need to know to do that. And so finally he called Roddy and said, hey, Lenny's ready to go. And so Roddy called me at home, says, hey, you ready to go, Lenny? Coach says you're ready. He said, okay. He said, I'm going to get a hold of Vince and everybody I know and get this show booked around many towns as we can. You ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. He said, because we're fixing to take off. Okay. And God bless him, he died that night.
Man.
Shit.
Yeah, he died that night. His wife called me this morning, Lenny, and she's all crying, kitty. I couldn't believe it, But that's what happened, that deal. But the stand-up thing would have been a good thing. And I still do it sometimes,
Do you?
When I can.
Man,
I tried it one time. Me and a guy did it not too long ago. When was that, Jimmy? Is that last year?
Yeah.
It was good. It did. I mean, it was cool. Just
it's fun. I mean, brother, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and you know what, man? The thing about that, man, and I was gonna ask you, like I mean, in this business, you meet so many fuckers that are just hilarious. I mean, just eccentric dudes, man, in their different ways. Some of them ain't even trying to be funny and they're hilarious, and some are. But like the funniest guy I think that I've ever met in the wrestling business, and it is my buddy to this day, is Brian Armstrong, Road Dogg. That son of a bitch is hilarious, man. And who do you think, who's the funniest person you ever been around?
The funniest guy, man, there's so many of them. You're right. I mean, I remember Moondog Larry Booker. He was funnier than hell. He used to have me laughing all the time. Let's see. John Nord used to have me crying, laughing. So funny, different things. Me and him rode together all the time. There's so many. Bobby Eaton was funnier than heck. He was funnier than him, too. Guys like that. There's a lot of them, like you said.
Yeah, man. It's just a crazy business to be in and then when you try to like go back into the regular world and it's like nobody like impresses me. You know what I'm saying? I've been around so many people that are funny, that are talented, that are this, that, and the other, that like regular people just don't impress me. I know that sounds awful, but it's like I've been around some of the most eccentric people in the world, man, and I wouldn't take nothing for it.
And then, like after I did as long as I have, you kind of don't fit in with anybody anymore. Around the guys, they look at you differently, and it's like
they think you're a nut.
You're a nut or something. You did what for a living?
Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope-ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means? It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week deals now.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
The Portland Wrestling Expo will take place on Saturday, February 22nd at the Holiday Inn Portland Airport. The PWE will be a celebration of the unique past and present of the Pacific Northwest area. It's presented by Captain's Corner. Announced guests include the Grappler, Mean Mike Miller, Top Gun, Ricky Santana, Moondog Moretti, John Nord, and C.W. Bergstrom. There will even be a Portland Wrestling History Q&A. In addition, there'll be international guests such as Hall of Famers Eric Bischoff, Rikishi, crowd favorites like The Boogeyman and Lance Von Erich. Make sure to head on over to pwexpo.com to get your tickets. VIP tickets are already half sold. The Portland Wrestling Expo on Saturday, February 22nd. Be there.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Well, so, okay, another one, and this is a good one. This is actually a listener question. Ben Martin 88 from Twitter. He asked this one. And first off, he starts off by saying that Len, in his opinion, wrote the best autobiography ever. Like, he loves your book, by the way.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so big fan of
I appreciate that very much, Kelly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he would love to hear about your feud in Portland with Carl Stiles, and then he also wants to hear about getting fired from Portland as the booker, only for Roddy Piper to rehire him on the same day to be his assistant.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll go with Carl Stiles first. Okay. Carl Stiles is from Kentucky. He's nice. He's not. I think he's got a little something missing upstairs. But he's a nice guy and all. He had big old gigantic body and everything, strong as he can be. But I did a thing with Carl. You guys remember the thing in Mid-South where they blinded dog, the three birds, that really got over, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Carl Stiles is in Portland. I'm booking. He comes in. He's got a prosthetic. He's got like a one eye. He's one-eyed. He's got the other one. He's got a fake eye in the other eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
For real. Okay, so I'm thinking, man, what a better guy can you ask for to blind on TV? He's only got one eye. Right. So I did a thing where I sprayed this stuff in his face. And I'm going to tell you, Don Owens, I said, Don, he's going to have to go home at least for 2 weeks. And you're going to have to pay him, then he can come back. And, then we'll shoot the angle. And he's starting to get his vision back. Thank God the great doctors has helped him out. We thought he was blind for life. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So lead him to the ring to start with where he can sit at ringside, and then he'll finally build his way up, and we'll shoot an angle where he can see enough to fight me and all that. That was the plan. But here's Carl Stiles, okay? I said, Carl, I finally talked Don into it. He didn't want to go for it. Finally, I conned him into it. He got his airplane ticket. I said, listen, when I spray this stuff on you in the crow's nest in Portland, you go down when the guy's going to cover you up and get you to the back. There's going to be a car waiting on you. You go, you have your stuff packed, it's going to be in the car ready to go. You go straight to the airport and get your ass out of here. And don't let nobody see you fly home. You got, I think, a real late flight, right? I had him set up to go. Okay. So we did the angle. It all went off good, and Carl left. And so the next day I get a call. And all the guys stayed at the Bomber, in Portland. This place where all the guys stayed. Mm-hmm. And where Art Lacey owned this property. We had a bunch of houses on it, and it was kind of in a circle, and he owned it. All the wrestlers stayed there for years. So I got a call. Somebody says they need me to come over for something, one of the other guys. And so I was on the way over there, and as I drove through the Bomber parking lot, Carl Stiles passed me driving his car. And I go, I'll be damned. And so I turned around, followed him, and he's going to the gym to work out. I go, Carl, I went, you fucking idiot. You going to work out? Well, I got to work out, buddy. I'm like, you dump. That's Carl Stiles right there. Okay. How do you work with a guy like that?
Yeah.
Just killed the whole angle.
Yeah. For sure.
We shot and built up all the promos, all the shit. I wanted to kick the shit out of him. I swear it pissed me off so bad.
we put my eye out in Memphis, and I did the whole deal, man. I'd walk around. I lived in Nashville at the time, and I'd walk around with an eye patch, and I would put Vaseline in my eyes, in my one eye, to make it look like it was all drippy and all that mess. And that was in the 90s, early 90s. And, kayfabe was halfway still alive. But even back then, for somebody to just break the kayfabe like that, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. That's what made it fun, man. That's what made it fun, when you could make them believe, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, the deal with Piper, what happened there with Don firing me,
mm-hmm.
was they did a thing. Don, I would go into the, like when you, after a show every Saturday, we go into the office, and Don, you have to come in, everybody, and Don would pay you, right? He's sitting at his big desk, right?
Yeah.
And so, and Don, he'd be talking all kinds of stuff, he's the whole time promoter, and all the guys, he was paying guys, and then, I'm from Texas, and so we come in there, and from the day one when I first got there, so Don had never really had a booker before. He just had the guys, the head guys, whoever's on top running things in the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
But he never had a booker like me. I was his first booker he ever really hired. And the reason he did, because, well, a lot of the guys there, Joey Jackson, Top Gun, Dave Sierra, Rip Oliver, they all recommended me for the job because Rip was leaving going to New York, and Rip was running it at the time. And so they recommended me, but he called his friend Bob Geigel and Harley Race, which I had booked in Kansas City for them for a year, and they gave me a good recommendation, so he hired me. So I'm his first booker. And so every Saturday we go get paid. He goes, well, here's a big famous booker from Texas. They say everything's big in Texas except for him. And they go, that's smart ass shit. And he said, look, when are you going to sell out the place, Texan? Hey, Mr. Booker, you're my first booker. When are you going to sell the place out? I got all these big recommendations, but you ain't sold it out. And every Saturday I have to hear this. So what I did was finally I had enough of it. I don't know. And I went, Don, I said, all the boys there, I said, Don, I tell you what, you give me 6 weeks on TV, and you and your son, Don, Barry, neither one of y'all cut off the angles I'm going to do or try to make me change stuff. Let it go. If I don't sell this place out, I'll get up and shake your hand. You don't owe me nothing. I'll go back to Texas where I belong anyway, Don Owens. And he goes, oh, Don jumped up and shook my hand in front of everybody. Oh, you're on, buddy. You're on. Okay, you're on with that bet. Everybody heard him. You heard him, didn't you? This big old brag-ass Texan. Everything's big in Texas. So here we go, right? So, brother, I went to work on that, and I got, thank the good Lord, they didn't block anything, but whenever it came to 6 weeks, Saturday night, we sold out and turned away 600 people.
Really?
Okay, yeah. And so I walked in the dresser. I could not wait to get through the match, take a shower, and go over and see Don when we got paid, right? Because I was going to rub it in big time. I went over and said, Don, how you like that, old man? What do you think about it, Texas now, asshole? Sold this place out. He said, yeah. He goes like this. I'll never forget this. He goes, he's the only promoter I ever seen was be mad when there was a sellout because he lost the bet. He said, yeah, but we turned away 600 people. They'll never come back. I said, well, a smart promoter would have given him a ticket for half price for next week. But I guess our promoter don't know that. Oh, he got mad when I said that too.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so anyway, he pays everybody, and then he gives me my regular pay. I was on an $800 a week guarantee. And I said, Don, brother, the house is sold out. You owe me another $1,000. Kick me some more money. And Eugene the night before was sold out too. And he goes, you know what? You get more money than anybody already. Take it or leave it. That's all you're getting. I said, are you serious, Don? We just sold the place out, and you're going to give me the same money I make every week. He goes, that's it. That's all you're getting. And I said, you know what, Don? I'm going to get my money back one way or the other. And so, back then we didn't have cell phones and all that. We had landlines, right?
Yeah.
Well, Don paid my phone bill because I was a booker, right?
Yeah.
Because I had, call talent, do all that. Well, it was about a month later. Fujinami came in, Japan office. They wanted to work a deal where I dropped the Northwest Heavyweight title to Fujinami in Portland, but they flew me over to Japan for 2 weeks, and I took it back over there and came back. So we had an angle going with their office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So I dropped the belt to Fujinami, went back over and won it back in Japan, right? But the deal is, I remembered what Don owed me that money, and when I'm over in Japan, I called my wife 3 times a day, collect from Tokyo, right?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. When I got back, the phone bill was like $1,200. And so I got a call from Don. He said, you need to meet me Monday morning. He drove all the way from Eugene 100 miles. You got to meet me Monday someplace, restaurant, I forget the name of it. He said, we need to talk. And I said, I knew I was getting fired right then because he said, so when I walked into the restaurant, I look up and there's Don. He's waving that phone bill. He said, you think this is funny, asshole, $1,200 phone bill? And so I was just laughing, right? And I seen Piper sitting there and Barry Owens. And I knew when I seen Piper, yeah, he was going to fire me. He's hiring Roddy. But I sat down and Don just started chewing me out and all this and everything. I said, you know what, Don? He said, you know what? Let me tell you. He goes, hey, Grappler Len Denton. He said, let me tell you who's your new booker. Who's the new booker here? He said, I hired Mr. Roddy Piper. He's better. Matter of fact, he's a better wrestler than you. He's a better talker than you. Hell, he looks better than you. I said, Don, you know what? I don't need to listen to all this bullshit. I said, I started to get up. Sit down. I'll buy you something to eat. Just sit down, man. So we sat down, and we're sitting there And so we're going through all this. He said, yeah, you think that phone bill was funny? I said, well, you thought it was funny when you didn't pay me on that sellout either, didn't you? And so we're going back and forth. Finally, Piper had to stop me. And Don, he goes, calm down. Everybody quit yelling. Stop. He said, hey, listen, Don. He goes, I appreciate the job. And he said, I'll be proud to be your booker and help do the TV. He goes, but, I got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm working for Vince in WWE. I'm doing stuff in Hollywood. I'm doing commercials. I got the Love Boat coming up, big thing we're going to shoot. He goes, so if I'm going to be your booker, I need to hire an assistant. He said, I'd like to hire Len Denton as my assistant. And Don just shook his head. He goes, all right, you assholes. Okay. I said, same money, Don. He goes, same money. Okay, let's go.
That's a good one, man. Hey, somebody else I'd like to talk about, man, that the first time that he came into Memphis in the mid-90s, okay? And the first time I ever heard him laugh is when I said, this motherfucker's crazy. And I'm talking about Billy Jack Haynes, man. I know you've been around him and all the shit that's happened recently with him.
Yeah.
Talk about him. I mean, he was a nice guy, but he just always came off to me as like, this motherfucker's crazy, man.
Brother, he was the type of guy you had to watch him over your shoulder all the time. You never knew what he was going to do. He's so unpredictable. Like one time, this is years before, I was working for a Tampa office for Mike Graham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Billy Jack, that's where he got his first big break. Well, it was in Portland, and he went there, and he really got over it in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because me and Flair worked tags against him and Wahoo and all kinds of stuff over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Billy Jack, at that time, Rick Rude was there. Me and Rick Rude were good friends. We rode together a lot. And Percy Pringle was his manager, Percy.
Yeah.
And what they call it was when he was with the Undertaker, they called Paul Bearer, yeah. And so Percy was managing me and Rude at the time, a bunch of us. Me and Rip were tag partners. Me and Rip Oliver were Florida champions and stuff, and we had a pretty good thing going. I was sitting in the dressing room one night, and up in was Fort Lauderdale or something like that. Rude went out, and him and Percy to work with Billy, and Percy come in first. Rude was doing something. Billy Jack walks in the dressing room, walks right over, and just slaps the shit out of Percy Pringle hard as he can. And we had to stop him, pull him off. What the hell are you doing? He goes, he screwed up the match. But I'm telling you, he wouldn't have slapped Rick Rude like that because he got his ass kicked. And he picked and choose the guys he would do that to. And I didn't respect nobody like that. But you had to watch him. I seen him do the same thing to a TV cameraman in Portland. I had to pull him off a TV cameraman one time doing the same thing, slap the hell out of the guy. Yeah. Yeah, the guy was taking a break. Here's how that happened. Me and Piper owned the transmission shop, Piper's Pit Stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had, I'm running the TV. I got the headset. I'm calling camera shots. I'm calling everything, running the TV every week. And when I'm not there, me and Piper, when Piper's there, we're doing it together, And so this particular time, I'm there by myself, and I'm running it. And so, me and Piper, well, of course, we took full advantage of the TV. We got 3 girls with really, really endowed, like great big chest, you know what I mean? And we stand them right where the baby face and the heels had to go to the ring, where we always had to have a wide camera shot, and we had them in a T-shirt, and some Piper's Pit Stop, and we had them with a sign jumping up and down every week. Well, Billy Jack didn't like that. Why he didn't like it, what it had to do with his business, I have no idea.
Yeah.
He just didn't like that. And I said, brother, just don't worry about it. You know what? It's our business. We'll take care of that. You don't worry about it, Billy. And so the camera guy, one of those girls was his girlfriend. Because he said, yeah, she'll do it. So he was taking a break, and he was smoking a cigarette. And when you come through the first door in the dressing room, it was just like a little hallway. He was just standing there where he could smoke away from the people. Mm-hmm. And so I heard, Billy Jack was dressing close to there, and he asked the camera guy, I heard him. I was on the headset, but I was trying to watch what was going on. And I heard him say, who's those girls? And he goes, yeah, one of them's my girlfriend. The guy started bragging to Billy, yeah, my girlfriend, she's doing a good job. He said, that's your girlfriend. All of a sudden I hear, whack, he slaps the hell out of the guy. I go over and go, pull Billy Jack out. Why does he think he has to do that, stuff like that? Just goofy shit like that. You know what I mean? You always had to look out for it. That's just, I remember one time I was working with him. I was working with him. This is one you guys are like. I was working with Billy Jack in Portland, right? And so we're having a match, and we always had good matches. I'm like, I had no problem working with the guy. He slammed me, and then, usually you slam a guy, if you're going to go to the top, you go, what's the punch, what's the knee, what's something, whatever you're going to do, right? Or move or whatever. He slams me, he don't call nothing. So I'm laying there, and I started to get up. He was coming off with a punch. My elbow caught him right in the mouth, knocked his front teeth out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he rolls up over in the corner. I see him set up like this. He's all, did shit, about knocked him out. I look, and he looks at me. He was like a pumpkin with no front teeth. I busted out laughing. I couldn't believe it. And then he went over to Don after the matches and raised hell, made Don pay him a bunch of money to go get his teeth fixed, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was a different character, man. He really was. And what I was fixing to say a second ago was when he came in Memphis, he did an angle with Brian Lawler, and man, they had one of those trophies, like about a 4-foot tall trophy with the the little person on the top with their wings and all that. Yeah. And the deal was I guess Brian won it, and then Billy Jack's gonna smash it on him or whatever. But instead of just like, smashing it over his back or whatever, he swung that thing like a fucking sword, man. And I mean, laced Brian's head open, man, with the wings of the tip of it. It was reckless as shit, man. I was like, holy fuck, man.
I know, brother. You had to be on guard all the time when you're working with that guy. But one time we were in Florida, I remember I loved that. Me and Flair were tagging around the territory like for 2 weeks with him in Wahoo.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricky goes like this. Rick goes, hey, Lenny, just follow my lead. Watch this shit. So we started out with Billy Jack, and he called drop down, boom, press slam. And I come running, he press slam me, then he press slam Ricky. He press slam me, and he pressed, and every time he go up, he get a little bit less. Finally, we blowed him up so bad, he goes, now take over and get some heat on him. He could hardly lift his arms by the time we're through.
It's funny.
And now a word from our sponsor.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, stop by Captain's Corner, where you can get autographed photos, cards, magazines, and figures from all of your favorite wrestling superstars of the past, present, and future. You'll also be able to participate in live signings in the weeks and months to come. Make sure to stop by Captain's Corner on Facebook and give us a holler. Remember, cheers to the working man.
The main important thing we got to talk about today is the reason that Lenny's here with us, and that is Saturday, February 22nd at the Portland Wrestling Expo at the Holiday Inn Portland Airport. First off, on Friday, February 21st, there's going to be the Grapplers Pro Wrestling Road Stories, uncut and uncensored. Sounds like it's going to be one of them, comedy shows like you're talking about. And then on Saturday, it's going to be a whole bunch of great people, like names like Ricky Santana, Mean Mike Miller, Top Gun, Moondog Moretti, Rikishi, Sue Young, Lance Von Erich, and then, of course, our buddy here, the Grappler. Talk about this upcoming event, especially, with Captain's.
Yeah, but you know what? Like on that Friday you're talking about when we do the stand-up thing, that's going to be, they have a wrestling show, I believe, first.
Okay.
On the Friday as well. And I heard now they're planning this. I believe this is going to actually happen. I'm pretty sure positive it is. They're going to have a old timers battle royal.
Oh.
Okay. So they're going to have me, Top Gun, if Moondog can get in there, Mike Miller, Ricky Santana, Wayne Bergstrom. They're different guys. We're going to have
very cool.
That ought to set wrestling back 100 years. But anyway, but then the big deal is like the Saturday is the signing. the fan fest and everything, and then I think I do after the fan fest. I do the stand up. I don't know exactly how they have it arranged. I mean, what time right now, but I do the stand up show, uncut and uncensored. But it's going to be a big one, man, with all kinds of people. I heard it's the 100th anniversary of Portland Wrestling. And so
wow.
It's going to be. It should be. It's the first time they've ever done anything like that in Portland for Portland Wrestling. So I'm hoping it has a great turnout. It should have a great turnout, and we're getting everybody behind it. You know, Joe V, the guy who wrote my book, he's a newscaster for Channel 12 now, and he said he's going to help promote it and you know, get us on the air and plug the heck out of it. We should have a lot of people there, I hope.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast, man. So cool, man. I mean, especially with, you know, you getting to come back to the Portland area. How long's it been since you've been back there?
It's been, well, I went and visited my, I got grandbabies there and stuff, you know, and I went and visited them it's probably been 2 years now since I've been back there. But before it's wrestling, it's been a long time. I don't even remember the last time I worked a show or did a show, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And are you getting out pretty regularly with these shows, or is this kind of a limited time affair? Or
well, check this out. Last 2 weeks ago, I was in Clarksville, Arkansas.
Okay.
And we did a show. It was well, it's not. Wait a minute. Let me see. Let me make sure. I'm gonna look at my thing. Anyway, the show. It was me and I actually wrestled a tag match with me and Joe. I got a grappler number 3 now, believe it or not.
Yeah,
out of
nice.
New Orleans, and me and him wrestled a tag match against what's his name? Dang, a guy over there, Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was. I mean, it's the first time I've been in the ring since I had that heart problem and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm down to the weight way down. I stayed in most of the match just to check myself out, and I didn't get winded at all. It was fun. So it was a good one. But I try to get booked on shows as much as I possibly can. You know, we got some stuff coming up. Now holidays it kind of slows down, but last year I was doing, you know, signings and things around the country, you know, pretty regularly.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah. You know, just like we talked about with Wolfie's Memphis Hall of Fame, you know, this is, you know, be here. Don't miss this. This is definitely a cool opportunity to meet all these Portland legends for sure. So,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, and
you guys will love one I'm fixing to do coming up in February. No, actually it's January the 31st.
Uh-huh.
I've got a show. It's in Temple, Texas, and I'm doing, they call it Drinking Beer with the Wrestlers. Me and JBL and James Beard.
Oh, man. That sounds like a blast.
We sat down in the ring, and, you know, it's kind of like a Q&A. They call it Drinking Beer with the Wrestlers. So they're getting some of those coming up after the first of the year. Should be doing a bunch of those, so that's going to be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to come to that.
Yeah.
Two people that I wanted to bring up too that are good friends of mine. Both of them are not with us any longer, but we're Portland guys too. Was Steve Dahl and Rex King. You got any good stories on them too?
Man, Steve Dahl, I wrestled Steve Dahl a million times. Steve was a good hand. I mean, he was really good out there. I mean, over as a baby face, over strong. You know, and Rex King, he when he first came in, he was green, but he developed into a hell of a tag team with Steve. But them guys were great talent. I remember with Steve one time, I'm working with him in Eugene, and I called something tackle, drop down, duck, clothesline or whatever. And for some reason, I had my thumb sticking out and hit him right in his forehead when he ducked. And I mean, it went all the way back to my wrist. It broke my thumb. Like you talking about? Oh my God! It made me sick in my stomach. I finished the match, but it took everything I had to finish the match. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then that was Friday night. So Saturday's Portland Wrestling. That's where you made your big payday. So I had to work. So I taped the heck out of it best I could, right? And I went and worked, and then Then the commission, you know, you heard about that big commission they had. All of a sudden, it came in and took over everything. Was kind of shut us down. I got fined $250 for wearing excessive tape on TV.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Don Owen says he got a letter the next week. He goes, "Look at that!" Throws me a letter. Went to go get paid that next Saturday. He says, "You need to go speak to your commissioner, buddy. He wants a meeting with you. says you owe him $250. I go, what? For excessive tape. I couldn't believe it.
Those fucking commissions are such a fucking work, man. God.
Oh, my God. Really, brother. It was unreal.
It really is.
I mean, he said, that's how the Breakfast Club with me and John Nord came to pass,
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he said we couldn't use chairs. We couldn't use. I'm trying to do TV, and Nord's sitting there, which he's never wrote TV in his life. But I'm trying to write TV and ignore Johnny because he's driving me crazy. He wants to go get some beer or do something else. And I'm going, I got to do TV, dude. Okay. So we're writing TV, and so I said, well, we can't use chairs. We can't use tables. If we bleed, they got to stop the match. Everything the wrestling fans come to see, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, what the hell? Johnny said, I know, we'll just beat the hell out of them with milk and Cheerios. I go, what the hell are you talking about? He said, you ever been hit with a gallon of milk not open? I said, no. Yeah, I have. It hurts like hell. I don't know where you ever got hit with one, but that's how we end up doing that. That's how we end up doing it. I didn't tell Don we were going to do it either, brother. I got my ass in a lot of trouble. And I said, okay, we got the cart full of Cheerios, box of Cheerios and milk, and we got who was the guy we were working with? I can't think of his name. Brian Adams. So we got Brian Adams down. I was in a strap match with him. I stopped him, I kicked him with a boot or something, and tied him up. Me and Johnny got the cart, come out there, and we just beat the hell out of him. Poor Brian took an ass beating. I felt sorry for the poor guy. But it was great. The people loved it. They went crazy. It got over like hell. They started calling us the Breakfast Club after that.
That's awesome, man. And real quick, I was just going to run this past, see if you'd ever heard this, because we actually had this question on the show last week. Somebody asked me about it. You know Rex King's story? And you know who Bert Prentice was, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Bert owed Rex money. And so in order to get his money, Rex kidnapped Bert's dog, his beloved little dog, and held him hostage until Bert paid him.
I never heard of that before.
Yes. I just thought that was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. But yes.
I remember one time poor Rex, he married that girl, Veronica, that was using as a valet, right? And I guess she had went to some hotel with one of the other girls and took like nude pictures for the Japanese magazine guy.
Oh yeah,
or something. And he was upset. And he was going crazy. And that's when remember the Twin Towers? What was her name? I can't think of names right now.
You talking about Spivey and Sid?
No. I'm talking about the twins that was in Portland. Ron and Don Harris. Yeah, so they were so green. Don told me, you take them and you train them some before I put them on my TV. He let them work the shows, so I had to take them to the ring and work out. And I was working out with them, and all of a sudden, Rex shows up, and they said, Rex is outside going crazy. He's fixing to go over to that hotel, and he wanted to talk to you. And I went out there and said, Rex, what are you talking about? He said, well, she's been over there, and he was telling me all about it, and he had a pistol. And I reached over and snatched the pistol out of his hand. I said, you ain't taking this shit nowhere. And he was going crazy, dude.
Oh, my God.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on every once in a while,
Yeah, for sure.
So I gave him the pistol back like the next day of the show, with no bullets in it.
Man, it has been a pleasure talking to you, man.
Seriously.
Oh, thanks.
Funny stories. Glad to have you on here finally. Like I said, went through Tony and you were having your health issues, so that didn't work out. And then I just never really. I didn't know what your condition was up until when Nick asked us if we would be interested in having you on. We were like, oh yeah.
Well, brother, I'm so glad. Anytime you guys want me on, you just give me a call. I'll be proud to do it.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Might get you and Tony on together one time. That'd be a good one.
Oh, that'd be a blast. Me and Tony. That'd be funny. Me and him laugh all about everything, all kinds of stories.
That'd be great. So maybe we can have that. But yeah, Ben, thank you again. And man, best of luck to you in your future stuff, what you're doing, and then in your health and all that good stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, brother. Thank you guys very much. Y'all take care. All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
And we'll be right back with Ask Wolfie D Anything.
DJ, hit the music.
Ask Wolfie anything, ask Wolfie anything, ask Wolfie
right, we are back with Ask Wolfie D Anything, and like we always say, the Grappler Len Denton, man, how awesome, right?
Yeah, how awesome. Yeah, man, he's funny too. He has good stories, man.
Yeah.
Very enthusiastic storyteller. Love it.
Oh, he is great. And the little giggle he would get before he would say some funny stuff would crack me up, man. Just like how he and Piper worked Don Owens and how him and Tony were tagging. I mean, it was just some great stories, man. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. You know, once again, thank you to Captain's Corner, Nick. You're the man. We greatly appreciate it. Got some more shows coming up. We're working with him too. You'll hear about soon. But today we've got some Ask Wolfie questions here. If you're ready with that, Mr. Wolfie.
Let's do it.
All right. Cause and effect from. What's that?
I was doing the beginning to what was that? Let's do it. Wow, dang! I guess that was my horrible rendition of the beginning of that.
Wow, wow. That was the Van Halen song, right? That was and because I know there was another one he did. What was it? Oh man, Toneless. Let's kick it. Funky. That was Kiss, right? I think that was Kiss.
Hell, I don't remember that. I mean, I don't really remember the tune even.
It's look it up. Yeah, look it up another time. But all right. So Cause Effect asked this question. He asked this: if you were starting today, what are some things you'd for sure do to make sure that you'd succeed, especially knowing today's style and climate and expectations?
Yeah, definitely. Put more emphasis on working out and all that kind of stuff that I didn't do in the very beginning. You know, Jamie used to say, I killed my gimmick for workout, but and he, in a way, he was a little right, but not really.
Right.
I'd go through spurts, man, where I'd work out, then I wouldn't work out for a while, and also because of partying and stuff. And so that's definitely number one, was I would take better care of my body. And then just pay more attention to, not that I was disrespectful to anybody, but just pay more attention to the old timers and listen to more stuff. And, you know, it was taboo back then to like ask a bunch of questions because you'd come across as a mark and they'd tell you that.
Right.
A fucking mark, you know, but in this climate, it's okay to do that. So that'd be something. You get some insight from people that I don't want to say I wasn't allowed to get, but it's really like you had to learn in the ring, and then once you're out of the ring, you're not really supposed to talk about it anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, would there be something that you think, I mean, specifically, like, let's just say right now, being where you are, Somerset, Kentucky, let's say you were born there, or let's say you're 18 years old or 14, or you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to think of a perspective here. Let's say you're there. Where are you going right now, in your opinion? Where are you trying to go to get trained?
Well, since I didn't actually go to a school, quote unquote.
Right.
I don't know.
And I mean, let's pause this. Let me go back real quick.
Yeah.
Let me re-ask this, because you are a bit of an interesting circumstance, being that how long was it before you actually got in a ring with Gypsy Joe that day to when you were in a ring wrestling? How long was that time period?
I mean, it totaled probably hours, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a couple of days where I got in the ring and stuff, but we're talking hours before I actually
wrestled on a show.
Yeah.
And you know, that doesn't happen anymore. Well, I'm sure it does happen, actually, unfortunately. But what
I don't know that I was 100% ready, but I caught on quick.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, that wouldn't be the case if you were to go to like a JPWA for Jarrett Pritchard's or whatever. You know, you would go through a full course, you know. Yeah. So
I'd say I'd be trying to get, just let's say I didn't know nobody, didn't have no connections. I'd probably be trying to, you know, call OVW or Glenn Jacobs and Tom Pritchard, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Because, I mean, you know, being in Nashville, that's a different story. There was a bit of a thriving scene in and around that area. But being in a little town like Somerset, where you're
not a lot going on.
Right. You got to get out of the area to do something.
Plus, you got to fucking Kentucky Athletic Commission, which is
oh my God, it's brutal. Yeah. Well. Anyway, if you're a young wrestler and you want to start out, hopefully that advice helped you out there, though. But find a trainer and record everything too. By the way, even if it's not for the YouTube, you don't have to put every garbage match you ever have on YouTube. But and here I am telling advice. Why am I doing this? Never mind.
Yeah. And recording all crazy big move. Right. Nobody can judge your match based on that stupid bump you just did.
Right. I'm just saying record your match for yourself to watch, correct? I mean, that's
the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
be honest with yourself.
Right. Be honest with yourself.
Seriously. I mean, I see stuff sometimes where I'm like, people, some of these guys post their stuff and it's like, why would you want anybody to see that? Because it's not good. That's just not good. So.
Yeah. And these guys probably have limited stuff to post, so it probably is the best they have. But
right.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, man, when I see that. And I'm like, oh, bro. Jeez. All right. Well, anyway, I hope that advice helps somebody. Okay, so the next question is our buddy, Mecklenburg County buddy, Neil Adam Lee. And he's got some questions about finishers here. So this is pretty much going to round out the show here. But the first one I'm actually going to answer because I think I already know this. So the finisher, we've been asked this a few times. The finisher that you least like taking, I'll say it, the super bomb from the Pit Bulls, right?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the favorite finisher of all time. Maybe let's go, your finisher and then maybe your favorite finisher you've seen other people do. So.
I mean, the Road Warriors Doomsday Device was the coolest finisher I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No doubt. With Animal once.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely up there with the greatest of them. I don't know all the finishers of current, so and you got to say like Ric Flair's Figure 4,
Sure.
I'm just thinking, old school, but definitely the Road Warriors by far, because that was the most devastating thing at that time.
Right.
Right. Like they killed you.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it's if you know how to take it good, it's one thing, but I've seen a lot of motherfuckers take it all fucked up.
Oh my Lord, man, poor bastards. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. And then your favorite finisher, would that be the Whirlybird, or would that be what would you say, like your favorite?
Well, I mean, yeah, I like that, but I didn't 100% really use it for a finisher. It's kind of a
setup. Right.
And, so the finish, I mean, the hubcap is just a very original thing, and like I said, I even had the one hubcap that said my finish on it, and it really was what he was known for.
Yeah,
and it was just a unique thing. Yeah, it was a foreign object that had been done 1,000 times, but it was still just different, man. It was different.
It was a foreign object. It was a different one.
A lot of people, that don't maybe don't remember our names. The guys with the hubcaps.
The hubcap guys.
The people, you guys hit people with hubcaps. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I like that.
What would you say the Moondog's finisher was?
Oh my God. The bone? No.
The bone? The bone?
Yeah.
Maybe the bone.
Right.
Or the chair,
Right.
As a tag team, you don't really think of them having a 1, 2, 3 finish maneuver.
No. Right. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think. And that's a great point.
Well recognized,
Very legendary tag team. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Anyway, I just kind of wanted to merge those two together and kind of make a point there.
That makes a point. Yeah, I like it. Well, his third one, and you kind of answered it actually, but we'll go with it. From Neil Adam Lee. Thank you, Neil. What finisher pops you from the current product?
I'll say this again. Here I go to foreign objects. I find it so refreshing that Logan Paul, that's the one that wrestles, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I find it so refreshing that he uses chains and shit for finishes.
Oh, me too. I love it.
Because it hadn't been done in so long, especially in WWE. And for him to use it like more than once and, that kind of thing, not just a one and off finish, but that's kind of his deal.
Yeah.
I like that. But let me think of a move that somebody does. Help me here, Jimmy. You know what I was
trying to think of the move that Rhea Ripley does, but I know you don't.
And I love her to death, but that's kind of that's Road Dogg's finish.
It is, yeah.
Some of these moves are just like, I look at them and it's like it's too much of cooperation from the opponent to make it look like you're really doing something to them. It looks like y'all are doing it together. Like I hate the
Canadian Destroyer. Yeah.
Canadian Destroyer. So I don't know, man. It would have to be something. I'm trying to think of somebody that's really over. I mean, I don't even really. I mean, the Superman punch of Romans, but they all kick out each other's shit anyway. So
I know. You know who is? It's awkward as hell looking, but it's that LA Knight finish where he like really brings them down on the front of their face. It's almost like a different type of cutter, but it's like I don't know, it's like a Russian leg sweep kind of deal, but he goes into their face. It's somewhat reminds me of the stroke, but it's different, and I don't know how to describe it. But
the stroke, I love Jeff to death, but I never liked that move. People don't take it right or something, man. It just doesn't. It's not, to me. It doesn't look like devastating, you know.
It's got to be. I mean, yeah, I know it's got to be devastating, and I think if it doesn't look devastating, it doesn't look good. I agree. Right. So, yeah, I mean,
Orton's RKO, you know, out of nowhere deal with that, and he does it out of some cool positions, and sometimes it's not easy to time all that up, you know.
Oh no!
So I mean, he does. It's over as hell. It's an over move. Maybe you have to give it to him, but at the same time, that's DDP's finish,
right? And the biggest problem with that is, you know, when some guys are taking not necessarily the Stone Cold, you know, that's that kind of move, but more the laying out kind of RKO DDP, you know, diamond cutter move. Yeah. It's all about the guy taking it, right?
Yeah,
the guy taking it, because so many times it's like the guy's feet get stuck to the ground and he like bends halfway and does like a weird finish, like it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then there are those that lay out properly. It's real smooth and looks good, but yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how to describe it better than
there's
that.
Not that many of new ones that I can think of. And that's just because I don't watch it enough to know them all. But they kick out anyway. So maybe I don't remember. It goes another way. And you don't have, you don't have job matches anymore where the guys get to do their finish and it boom, you know it's over. You knew it was over before it started, but you still got to see their finish on a weekly basis almost.
Exactly.
Until they had a big match with somebody, and then
Yeah. Well, hey, brother, I think that's all I got, man. That was a good interview, man. Len is awesome. I'm so glad we got him on. So
and thanks again, Nick, and everybody get your tickets. That it is in the area. Should be a great event.
Portland Wrestling Expo, February 22nd. And I think the hits keep on rolling next week for us too, man. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Yeah, I hope you eat a bunch.
I do want to say this real quick, is that even if you don't live in the area, I have a strong feeling that Nick, because he does a lot of, broadcasting things on the internet where he goes live and you're able to buy stuff from there. So I would say, do you know if he has a website set up for this yet? Or?
Well, he has a Facebook page.
So his Facebook page, check that out, Captain's Corner. And I'm sure there's information on there if you're not able to make it, where you could probably purchase some merchandise from those guys. So.
Oh yeah. He does great stuff with those virtual signings. And then of course, like you said, if you're not in that area, man, you can still, it's like you can be there in Portland with them, even though you're not. Y'all know what virtual signings are, so check them out. But yeah, man.
All right. Well, guys, looks like we're having another guest on the show next week that's going to be part of that. So we'll save that as a little surprise for you. But we're going to have a few more of those before that show goes down. So.
Be prepared.
Yes, sir. All right, Jimmy. We'll see you, and everybody tune in next week.
Still live and in color on the Wolfie D. It's Wolfie D, baby. I got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com, and to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at Warren Wolf 13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at James Rock Street on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
I got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. And here we go. The original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color. Bum rush your mother, utilize a hubcap, unlike any other. Back in the day, I was N-O-D, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired of suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are without me name dropping. Wrestling's first white boy coming out hip hopping. Been doing it like this since '92. Laid low for a while and you thought I was through. Listen. Listen real close to these rhymes that I've injected. This shit's so sick, it makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking, there is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more folks than Obi-Wan or Vader. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You sucker step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. With my finish, I'll straight knock you out. Please allow me to tell you what it's all about. Gonna wind it up, then I'm driving it home. It's Wolfie D, baby. I got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome.
This has been a James Rock Street production.